Hey everyone. So, I have a question for you in today's show. Isn't raising another human hard enough without making it even more complicated? Well, in today's video, I really want to show you how you can raise a human to their best and unique qualities with joy, less stress, and less spiritual, mental, and emotional, and maybe even a physical running around that we do, right? So, everyone, my name is Nellie Harden, and I am the founder of the 6570 Family Project, where we are busy and make up our time helping you raise daughters. And I'm raising four daughters of my own, four teenage daughters, but we are helping families raise daughters with a foundation of worth, esteem, and confidence so they can become self-disciplined leaders of their lives before they leave home. So we don't need them out there chasing worth and doing all those things, right? We have built within them, for them and with them, this great foundation that they have become a self-disciplined leader before they leave home. So I have three stories I want to share with you today, and then I'm going to see which one of these actually applies into parenthood. But I just want you to, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're watching this, just close your eyes for a second and listen to these three very short stories and see if you can think of what I'm talking about here. So, number one, soccer balls. You're standing at the edge of a large professional soccer field. So, would you rather A, have 100 soccer balls lined up, stretched all the way across the end of the soccer field, and your job is to get every single one down past the other side in time? Or would you rather have one larger ball that you need to carefully and intentionally with focus guide down to the other side? Just one. Which one would you rather? Okay, so have that in your head. And then second is the gauntlet. So we all remember that Gladiator show, right? It was so addictive and you're like, what are they doing, right? So I don't even know if it's still on anymore, but just a question really. Do you feel like those athletes just woke up one day and said, I want to go do that, and they went out and crushed it? No, absolutely not, right? What did they have to do? They had to train. They had to train over and over and over again. They had to train, and they had to use vision and discipline and vulnerability and resilience to keep going and keep building, right? Okay. So that was second. Number three is about lava. You're like, Nellie, what is going on? Soccer balls, gauntlets, and lava. Just hold with me. It all pertains, I promise you. So picture these two families, two separate lava fields. Okay. And so one family has about 50 or so small stepping stone sized rocks that they can be safely on. I say in quotes, right? Can you be really safe on a stepping stone in lava? But the threat of a wave or a burst of lava is always right there. Some are a little higher than others. Some of these rocks are a little higher than others. Some have better protection during certain storms than others. You have to get to that one during that time, right? But there's always this palpable threat, and you can never really sleep. You can't relax. You can't rest or explore your passions or purpose because you're always on guard all the time in the world around you. And every shift in the world around you means a mandatory shift in in your inner world and in your life. Okay. Second family. Second family is in a lava field, and they only have one rock, but it's a big one. And this person or this family, though they can see the threats that are way down there below, I think of like the Grinch, right? The Grinch that stole Christmas and his view of Whoville down there, right? But anyway, you can see all of the threats that are down there, and act accordingly sometimes as something comes up, but there isn't this sense of life-threatening urgency all the time. There is rest and calm and sleep and space, and you can lean on, launch from, and stand on this foundation. There is time to pursue passions and purposes and build a home and a life. So which one would you rather, right? I think that's a gimme, right? One of my kids was taking a test the other day, and she was like, some of those questions were gimmies because they would ask, what is the abbreviation for deoxyribose night. Oh, DNA. What is it? Deoxyribose nucleic acids. There we go. And something like that. And then it said, what is short for this? Right. And she was like, oh, that's a gimme. Right. So that last one was a gimme. But what do they all have to do with you in parenting and raising daughters, especially, but all your kids in the second half of childhood? Well, the soccer ball is the efforts, intention, and focus of you as a parent. Okay. That's your point of view. And that's like my client who used to feel like she was so in constant go mode. You felt that way before. I know I have too. Constant go mode, and was exhausted and could not give her family the best of her. Okay. Because it was just, I got to do this. I can't listen to that. I can't do that. I just got to go do this right now. Right. And then the gauntlet is what they are going through right now and forever, really, right? The gauntlet of life. It's what your child is going through right now. And that reminds me of a client I had whose daughter was navigating a boyfriend relationship, a sibling rivalry, a big school stress that was going on, and an international move all at the same time. That's a gauntlet right there, right? And then the lava is what you are setting them up with in life. And that is like the woman I spoke to whose child is going through some really difficult times. It was an older woman, and her child was going through some really difficult times. And she was looking back and saying, oh, I just didn't teach her or have the resilience myself and the vulnerability to give her what she needed in order to get through this time. And now we're trying to do it as an adult, and it's really hard. That's the thing, you guys. Anytime that we don't set something up, the bones of it in the 6570, those first 18 years of life, 6,570 days, if we don't set them up with the bones of it in that foundation, you can't give them a specific example of everything that's going to happen in their life, but you can give them the bones of it back then, or back in the 6570, and then they use it for the rest of their lives. And if they have to change the foundation, they need to take a what are those, like rock pounders, right? The jackhammers. They need to take that to the foundation that was there, which can be really, really solid, but not in good ways, right? Think about maybe some baggage that you have from your childhood or your 6570, things that you brought with you that you're like, oh, I don't want to take that. Many times, especially in young women, it has to do with our worth and our value and our appreciation of self, our understanding of others, our understanding of ourselves, and belief in ourselves, right? So many things can be tied up in there and be like sticky glue, and you got to break that up in order to change it, which is really hard as an adult. That's why in the 6570 Family Project, we're busy trying to put all of that in the 6570. Okay. So Oprah, I was just listening to someone interview her the other day, and gotta love Oprah, right? People can have arguments about her all day long, but she has worked hard and she has made huge strides in her life. I don't think anyone can argue with that, right? But someone was interviewing her and saying, you have interviewed almost every successful person in the world, which is, hardly not true, but she has done many, 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 right? And they asked her, what is it? What is it? What is this one thing, right, that you have? And she said, they all knew where they were going. They all knew where they were going. There was a singular focus. They knew where they were going, and then they could get there, right? So I don't know anything bigger or a bigger project than a parent has in wanting to lift up the next generations. That's why I call parents architects, right? We are planning, designing, and building the beginning of someone else's life. And that is a really big deal. We know where we are going, right? So if we know that we want to build this foundation, where do we build it exactly? Like, do we do it, in their faith? Do we do it in their education? Do we do it in their wellness? Make sure they know to eat their veggies and carrots. Like, where do we build this? And that's where we're going to talk about today. I just want to tell you the vantage points of where to build this, the cross section, right? If you're getting directions on a map and they're like, go to the corner of blah, 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 I'm going to give you the corner today, guys, of where to do this. And I'd dive way into how to do this in our Take the Lead program. We can talk more about that. The link is down below if you want to take a look at that in a deeper fashion. And you can see that there. But right now, I just want to tell you what's the intersection that we're going to do this at? Well, it is right at the four biggest influences of their lives. Okay. So we have biology, which is brain and body. Okay. Brain and body. There's so much happening in a teen and tween's body and their biology right now. So helping them understand that, what is going on, helping you understand that so you know how to react and guide certain situations. Number two is psychology. That is thoughts, decisions, behavior. What is going on in here, right? Which is the paramount and the first step toward anything else that's happening in life. So what is going on up here? The next one is faith. And in my home, that is a Christian faith. And knowing that something is bigger than just this human element, right? How to start owning their own faith, how to understand worth and sacrifice and purpose and love. All of that is tied up in faith. And then culture, which is interactions with everybody outside of them, right? There is a family culture. There's a school culture. There's a youth group culture. There is a community culture, a country culture, a world culture. Okay. And if you are if you just put a foundation in any one of these, then they're going to be lost because they all influence not only them directly, but they influence one another as well. So you might hear things like, my brain made me do it, or my hormones made me do it, right? They might not say those words exactly, but, oh, this is just really hard. And it's just because of this, right? A simple excuse. And that's why these four, biology, psychology, faith, and culture, why the intersection and that foundation, when built at the intersection of those, can be tall, it can be bold, it can be strong, and it can have a perspective on all four of these major influences in their lives. Because each one of these, you can find rest in the excuses and false traps in all of them individually, but together they are a foundational fortress. I'm going to say that one more time, okay? You can find rest and excuses and false traps in every single one of these, but together they are a foundational fortress. Like I said, my brain made me do it, or as a parent, I hear this all the time. It's typical teen behavior, so it's okay. It's normal, so it's okay. Not all normal is a normal you want to subscribe to, guys. Okay. Not all normal is a normal you want to subscribe to. Or you follow the ever-changing winds of culture, right? Or there's, especially in the faith sector, there is legalism, any ism, really, right? Faith alone without the body of Christ is not the fulfillment of his intent at all. Love thy neighbor, right? Ring a bell. We're meant to be in community with one another. So think about it. There is not an influence. And if you have one, please challenge me on this. I would love to know. But as far as I know, and as far as I've tested, and as far as I have really scraped the bottom of the barrel on this, there is not an influence that falls out of these four. Okay. And if you only build one, you're leaving them lost when it comes to any of the other three. If you only build two, maybe you have two foundations within each one of these camps. First of all, they're only half as high because you didn't get to focus on them as much, right? But without the others, you're leaving them conflicted, naive. Maybe they're prey, right, to others and world cultures that aren't serving them. They're lonely or they're always seeking with no skills or strategies to improve and move forward. You're like, okay, I get that. But what if I have all three, right? What if I have three of these four at least? Well, again, I'm going to challenge you, just like with those lava rocks, I'm going to challenge you with, If you are building 3 foundations, you're not going to be able to be very intentional and purposeful with one big, awesome foundation. Okay. But if you're building 3 and you're only missing 1, you're still leaving them confused, isolated, limited, and or anxious, depending on what 3 you are using in there. I have this beautiful 4-circle Venn diagram that I use in my teachings too that talk about all of this. But none of those are where you want to finish. All of those words I just used: conflicted, naive, prey, lonely, isolated, limited, anxious. None of that is where you want to leave them at the end of the 65-70, right? This is an Aristotle moment where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. We've all heard that before, right? And so this is one of those moments. The whole is much, much greater than the sum of its parts. And you want to finish the 65-70 with an incredible foundation of, what is that foundation built of? Again, it's worth, it is esteem, and it's confidence. But now you know where it goes, you guys. It is worth, esteem, and confidence smack dab in the middle of that intersection where it can peer out at biology, right? My body, how is this moving? How is my brain working? How is my body working, right? How is my body image? All of that. Also psychology, right? What am I thinking? How can I come up with ways of thinking? What are my boundaries? What are my values? What are my core beliefs? Understanding that. And faith, right? Understanding I am having my worth and my esteem and my confidence in faith, and also in culture. How can I have worth, esteem, and confidence in culture, even though it will try and take me down over and over again, while other pieces try and falsely lift me up? How can I have discernment in those areas, right? I promise you, everything fits into this one foundation. Everything does. School, chores, manners, friendships, kindness, faith, motivation, servanthood, respect, romantic relationships, body image, time management, anxiety, conflict resolution. Literally, the list goes on and on and on. It all fits in this one foundation, in this one place, you guys. The WEC Foundation, worth, esteem, and confidence, I call it the WEC Foundation, needs to be built strong, and it needs to be built high, and it needs to be built broad. And that comes through using it over and over and over again, and adding and building and using the 4 tools that you need in order to build this foundation, which we can get into in another time. I would love to talk with you more about this, but don't make parenting any harder than it has to be already. We have a huge job in raising another human, a huge job. So don't make it any harder than it is by setting yourself up with, I need to do this and this and this, and kicking all those soccer balls down the line, right? So to find out how you can build your daughter's foundation in the 65-70, you can start by watching the Daughter Decoder, which is completely complimentary, link down below, and it will start walking you along this. Or even better, I would love to set up a time with you and talk about your specific daughter and how we can help you navigate this 65-70 and this building of her foundation, right? Because every family is different and every child is different. I have 4 of them. I know this. I call them the 4 corners of a square, even though I have twins in the middle, even so different. And how we approach them as parents needs to be different for each one of them as well. Okay, you guys, you know what the foundation is, you know where to build it now. And I would love to help you pursue that and help you in the how to build that for your specific daughter. So again, links down below, and get in contact with us. We'd love to talk with you. But for now, remember, you guys out there, they are 1 of 8 billion. And in your home, they are 1 of you. And the best way to impact her life is through what you are doing in your living room right now. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next show.